Hey guys, welcome to the fifth episode of Untied podcast with KASH. I hope you will like this one. I had so much fun recording this video with Anooraag Basu that I can't express in words how good I felt after this podcast. So I hope you like this one. We have talked about everything in general, to be very honest with you. So just see the title, you will understand it. I won't confuse you much. But if you sit throughout the podcast, you will get what I mean. So I hope you are enlightened after it. And do not forget to like and share the video and surely subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey man, how are you doing? How's life?
Hey man, I'm good. How's life for you? I'm really good.
Yeah, I'm doing great actually. मतलब सब अच्छा चल रहा है फिलहाल तो. Recently, you might know that my boards have got cancelled.
Yeah, must be a relief for you.
आईसीएसई घुमा रही थी मुझे. बहुत घुमा रहे थे हम लोग को आईसीएसई पिछले एक हफ्तों में, पर luckily it was the same as CBSE. So we are good in that. So for my audience, I will introduce you to my guest today. This is Anooraag Basu. He is a very old friend of mine, and the reason we are friends is because our parents were friends since first grade. So we have a long history together, and we have had some brilliant and amazing moments too. So I hope it will be a great podcast today. So I would like to start off with my first question with you, Anurag.
Yes, sure.
So first of all, I want to ask you to give me some career guidance as I am pursuing medical too, just like you.
Okay. So, firstly, I would like to let you know that I am not pursuing medical per se.
Okay.
I am pursuing a field called bioinformatics.
Right.
So, it's a field which is a combination of biology and computer, and it's a more future oriented one. But yes, in your case, since you are talking about medical, we all know that medical, healthcare, medicine, such things will never go out of requirement or need.
Right. Right.
So my suggestion to you would be, if you really want to go into medical, is, as we all know, it's a hardworking field.
No doubt about that.
Like any field is hardworking, but we all know that medical is the one which requires more theoretical study of things.
Absolutely.
So if you are into it, if you are willing to make a change through it, then you should definitely go ahead with that. And at the end of the day, after 20 years from now, my only suggestion to you would be is do what you love.
Absolutely. So that's a great way to start off our podcast, and amazing guidance. So now let's come to in terms with our favorite sport. We both love football. Okay?
Yes, we do.
But recently, an announcement, just there's a bit of feeling in our hearts because the Super League was announced. How did it affect you, Anurag?
I was taken aback. I would really be honest with you. Such a thing happened to us young fans, I would say,
Right.
is very traumatizing. And the thing is that it's like it hit us because it's different.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing.
Absolutely.
And it is such a hot topic, and it has just taken fire a few days ago. So we still do not have all the information or the details we need to understand what is going on.
Right.
But from what we can see now is that the convenient, the game of football will not be the same, in my opinion, because the conventional way of football, like we know that we'll have league matches throughout the year, then we'll have UCL nights. So it's
exactly. We used to
Champions
see
League.
good matches only at the end of the year. We used to wait throughout the Champions League to see the knockout stages so that we can see our favorite teams, hit hard against each other. But now we will set every week. It will not be
Yes, it's
week.
Yeah, so it's for the first, the former years, it will be like, oh my god, it's so cool. Like if we start off with ESL from 2022,
right,
people will love it.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, people will absolutely love it. But for how long?
How long? Exactly.
You talk about 2000, maybe say 2030. What will happen after that? People will get bored of it.
Absolutely.
People will think that this was something like, it's like we say, right, that if it is good, don't do it too often that it becomes something like normal, because it's good for a reason. It's different from the normal for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that thing every time, then it will become like the normal.
Absolutely.
And that's what is like what is said to be happening right now, that all the top teams from all different leagues would be playing matches weekly, such matches which we dream of to see in the Champions League. Not even every
Yeah.
year we get
We
to
had to
see,
wait for
for
3 years
example.
to see Juventus versus Barca, and now it can happen every week.
Yes, so like it was special for us because we thought that this was once in a lifetime chance to see
Messi
both
and
these.
Ronaldo together, actually.
Yes,
Actually.
absolutely. These two legends playing again, possibly for the last time.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
now it will be like every week. We
Right.
will enjoy for the like the first few weeks for us.
Right.
The new
Right.
audience will enjoy it a little bit more. But
Mm-hmm.
what happens after that?
Absolutely.
So that's the concern. And I've also read about this news being that UEFA and FIFA have like
Banned
given
the
this rule.
players which will be playing in the Super League from all international
Yeah. So
competitions.
absolutely. So there are a few rules which will literally turn the whole scenario of football. For example,
Absolutely.
players cannot play in the domestic leagues. The
Right.
teams cannot play in the domestic leagues. Then the players cannot represent their country on the international front. So
But
there's no
I
World Cup,
heard the
there's no
interview
Euro.
of Florentino Perez, the president of Real Madrid. He was
Mhm.
pretty confident. The interviewer asked him that, all the Real Madrid players will not be able to represent Spain. They won't be able to play in the Euros. They won't be able to play in the Champions League. So PSG will go away and win it. So Florentino Perez confidently said, "Who told you that is happening? It will not happen. I mean, I can guarantee you that." So do you think that the UEFA will allow this, the FIFA will allow this, or do you think it was going to happen due to this coronavirus pandemic and the losses that the clubs have suffered?
See, again, FIFA and UEFA are absolute contenders for ESL. So Fiorentino Perez saying that they will all shake hands in the end is something I would say a bit, unrealistic.
Okay.
But now we do not know what is actually going on there, right? So,
Right.
and there's a lot of business involved in football nowadays than it was earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And it has become like a lot about the money involved in this. So maybe if Florentino Perez does something, comes up with a huge offer, then maybe FIFA and UEFA consider. But then there's this integrity as well, that we are FIFA, we are UEFA, we have been doing this for the past so many
20
years.
years,
And
absolutely.
yes, and if we just give in to this new change,
Mm-hmm.
so I do not know if they will like tie forces and make a conclusion after this, because see, the thing is, if they do, that's really great, because
Absolutely.
then we do not have a problem with having an ESL like per se,
Mm-hmm.
because we do, because it will like spoil the what do you say, the special moments of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can say that if the players are still allowed to represent country or say play in the Champions League, then what happens is ESL becomes a mere addition. So
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, if everything remains the same and only ESL gets added into the mix, then the football fans will be like, okay, so maybe I do not want to watch Barcelona versus Juventus every week, but if I am getting to watch Serie A and La Liga, I am getting to watch UCL, UEL, and
Actually.
I am getting to watch USL, then at the end, it only means more football, more of
Right.
Ronaldo, more of Messi, and more
Right.
of all the other stars who play. So
Absolutely.
then it will be, I guess, okay with everyone.
Absolutely. So that's a very good point you made. So now let's come to terms with our favorite club, the club which is now home to Ronaldo, Juventus. How would you
Yes.
sum up Juventus's performance this season? It was painful, isn't it?
Yes, it is painful for us fans to watch. But, like, frankly speaking, I would say that, like putting all the blame on Pirlo would be wrong,
Wrong, absolutely.
because he is a new manager.
Hmm.
And what I really liked about this season's Juventus, considering last season's massacre which Sari had done,
They are actually attacking this time,
yeah,
in
so
some
there's
matches
this
at least.
intent. Yeah. So there is this intent in their game sometimes,
Right.
which ends up getting us results. But the thing is that in one match, Ronaldo does something, they win. In one match, he doesn't. In one match, Chiesa does something magical.
Yes, yes,
Then in
yes.
one match, Morata does something magical. But it's
Right.
like football is a team game. So you cannot always bet on Ronaldo scoring the last
So
minute
I think we
penalty.
only missed Dybala. I think we only missed Dybala's one. I think we missed, four, at least four Dybala performances, which was happening last season with Sari. Like in some matches, Dybala was performing. In some matches, a few rare matches, Higuain was performing, and almost in every match, Ronaldo was performing. So I think what we
Yeah,
missed
but
is Dybala's performances.
no, see, for me, Dybala would also not make much of a difference actually,
Okay.
because the thing is that he's injured. So I mean, like even if he wasn't injured,
Mm-hmm.
so he would still be on the attack.
Right.
Okay, we need players in the midfield.
Absolutely.
Okay, that is the only place which is absolutely weak for our team.
Right.
See, considering if you go in proper order,
Mm-hmm.
keeping like if you consider goalkeeping, we have Chesney. Chesney is a good keeper, decent keeper, no doubt.
Yes,
Then we
absolutely.
have Buffon. So like Buffon is like another level. So you do not even talk about Buffon when it comes to footballing
Absolutely,
and goalkeeping.
absolutely.
So I guess, in my opinion, the goalkeeping is quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you move to defense, you have Delict, awesome. You have Demiral, it's okay. But how long do you want to stick with nostalgia and have Bonucci and Chiellini in your team?
See, even
They are
Bonucci is all right. He can at least guide these guys, but I think at this point of time, having Kiliani, I don't see where this is going.
yeah, you can see it in the game
Absolutely.
that they are not able to run after 60 minutes. Then what they do is they start tugging and pulling the opponent striker's shirt to get them down or slow them down, because nowadays the game is becoming fast. You see
Absolutely.
Mbappe, flashing past players. So it's not something we are seeing now. We have seen that thing happen when Ronaldo was Manchester United.
Hmm.
But then Ronaldo was doing it against like even greater defenders, I would say,
Right,
than
right,
Mbappe is doing now.
right.
But the thing is that if you put up Mbappe against Chiellini, how will he fare against him? He won't be able to even like
Match
match
up.
his speed. So it's like leave defending. He will stay in midfield and he will go reach goal. So
Yeah.
it's like
So,
the
and
thing is that
even if these guys are trying, like Ramos is trying, Kiliani is trying, they're getting injured because they're putting extra work to them, to their
yeah,
legs.
so it's physically not possible for them. They are
Actually.
mentally very strong. Don't get
Actually.
me wrong. They are very
Absolutely.
strong mentally because of their experience
Mm-hmm.
and the moments that they have had. And I would say that even in this season,
Mm-hmm.
when Chiellini is playing and you see him make some sort of a like instinct move and stop the striker, that is
Yes,
all
yes.
because of his experience.
Right.
That comes down to his experience of playing for so many years, for knowing Italian football well.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, he would not have like if you put Chiellini
Mm-hmm.
in like from now, like if you pick him up from Juventus and put him in some team in La Liga or in the Premier League, he won't be able to do better because he does not like know the culture of those leagues, right? And every league has a culture.
Absolutely.
Because see, for example, I have been following Ronaldo for so many years. He's my favorite. So when I
Absolutely.
saw him come from Real Madrid to Juventus,
Mm-hmm.
I saw a very different gameplay here.
Absolutely.
It's like if you are following Ronaldo in Real Madrid, you will get really angry by seeing him at Juventus. Because the thing is, the ball comes to the midfield,
Mm-hmm.
the midfielder does not pass forward, he passes it back. And this has happened so many times. You would see Ronaldo run past the player, hoping for a through ball, maybe a cross, so that he can make something out of it. But there's no player to do that. Because at his time at Real Madrid, he had so many players. He had
Toni
Marcelo,
Kroos,
he had
Luka
Modric.
Modric. That's it.
So,
Stop the list.
so it's like
These two are enough.
so yeah, even two would do.
Yes.
But then we do not have any. Even one would do for us right now.
Honestly,
But the
I
thing-
thought last year that Ramsey would be that link. Ramsey would do that for Ronaldo, but even he is not fit to do that.
Yeah, because
That
he
is what angers me.
Yeah, the only way we can consider Ramsey as a suitable person for this is that he is an attacking midfielder. And that's why we thought that, okay, maybe he will do something good. But the only thing he did was steal Ronaldo's free kick in the Champions League. Nothing else. So that's it. And he's not the player he used to be in Arsenal. Like, he was a great player, no doubt. But now he's not the same player. And the midfield we have right now, it's like it's filled with people who are like some of them are scared, first of all, to go ahead with the ball. As simple as that. You see Bentancur, he gets the ball, okay. Okay, I would agree that, okay, if you pass it first time and it goes to some other player, I get it. It happened quickly.
Okay.
But then he holds the ball for literally almost a minute. Then he passes it to the opponent player. How can that happen? I mean, like, how can that happen? And you have seen Kulusevski. He has been giving such beautiful assists to the opponent striker. I mean, you just look at him. Okay, he shoots from the midfield. He tries to pass it to some of his players.
Right.
The ball swings so beautifully into the path of the opponent striker, it goes into the goal. But see, now as a fan of the team, it's like you cannot pick out people and say that it's your fault.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's a fault of the whole group. So what we can say is that currently Pirlo is not able to, I would say, impact his ideas onto these players.
Right,
and
because
these
he needs
players,
the players that he wants. It was the player that Sarri wanted that they're having now. So
yes, but see, another thing is that Pirlo is someone who knows Italian football.
Right.
Because he has played here, he has thrived here, he has become a champion in Italy. So the thing is that he needs to understand how the game needs to be done now. Because sometimes I've seen that, like, I would say that he is sticking to the conventional methods, and this is not what we have to do. Because he's always going with 4-4-2. I mean, like, okay, you do that, it's cool. But now that we have seen for so many times that this formation is not working,
right,
then you have to mix things up. You have to make some sort of changes. And why is he not bringing out the young players from the Juventus, like the camp? So there are so many good players I have seen. Like Fagioli is a good player. Then there are other players who are.
I love Dragosin.
Yeah, even Dragosin is a good player. And so see, these players, they have been given time to play, but only 5 minutes at the end of the match. How will they shine in that minute? And see, the thing is that, like, when we talk about a new player, a young player, see, he has two things in his mind. Okay, two things in his mind which will actually help the team. First is, I am thankful that my coach has selected me, and I would like to impress him.
Right.
And the second is, I would like to give my absolute best to contribute to the team, so I stay in the team.
Right.
So see, there is an intention behind him performing on the field. See, because if you look at this Juventus team, every time they are like, I would say 1 goal or 2 goals down, everyone is like, oh my God, what to do? And then Ronaldo is like, do something. And they're like, and he does not tell them that you go and score goals. He is at least telling me, you at least pass it to me so we can do something. Right. It's like, the people blame that Ronaldo coming to Juventus has not helped them. They have become worse. Because the thing is, the Juventus people saw before Ronaldo came was a very different Juventus from this. It had Dani Alves. It had Mandzukic. It had Pogba. It had so many of these players who pushed them to almost winning the Champions League
2 times.
But then there was this Cristiano Ronaldo who would always stop them. So that Cristiano Ronaldo is a different Cristiano Ronaldo from this.
Absolutely.
But he is still trying.
His level.
But the thing is that after coming to Juventus, so it's like he is trying to help this team out, but they are not trying to help him out. As simple as that.
Right.
Because that Juventus is not the same Juventus as now. And Ronaldo is not the same, I agree. But he is still better than this whole Juventus team, I would say. In terms of not physical or terms of football skills, I'm saying. In terms of the most important thing a team needs, mentality.
Absolutely.
Because he is still willing to give it all. And you can see, like, for example, I would tell you, this match against Porto. Okay. He was blamed a lot for not being at his level, for not, I would say, for not coming up at the big moment. which he doesn't do very few times actually.
Right.
And also for jumping in front of the free kick.
Right.
Okay. So the thing is that, okay, I would say that, okay, Ronaldo is in fault for jumping in front of the free kick and all. But how do you explain Bentancur passing the ball in front of Chesney to the opponent striker, Taremi?
That was so bogus.
So that happened. Okay. So for that, I would like, how can you blame Ronaldo for that? And another thing is, I saw this interview with this guy. I don't remember his name. He spoke about the ideology behind having a free kick. Okay. So you place players in front of the free kick who are not who are like willing to take the hit. So, and you saw the players that like who were standing in front of that free kick. First of all, they underestimated the whole Oliveira scene. They did not think that Oliveira could score from that far.
Right.
So then Pirlo was like, okay, you three go. And who three? It's Ronaldo, Morata, and Rabiot. So you can see from that slow motion image that Morata jumps to the left, Rabiot jumps to the right, and Ronaldo jumps, but all of them are looking back because they are all thinking that it's gonna go up, it's maybe gonna hit them. So they have absolutely no idea of what the player is going to do. So they should like, and I don't get it. Like for every Serie A free kick, Pirlo has Cuadrado laying down, but for that one free kick, he did not have Cuadrado laying down on the back of the wall, and we missed it.
Right.
And I felt bad for Chiesa because he is the second best player, I would say, for the team.
What would you like to say about McKennie? You know, I love that guy. He has done pretty impressive, I would say, in the midfield region at least.
Yeah, what I would say about McKennie is he has still got like some things he needs to learn.
Right.
But he is, I would say, good at maybe his job for like when it comes to the team, he is playing his part. Okay. It's like he does the midfield work well. He does the short passes
He does
well.
the work of Matuidi. So I will give it to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he is quite similar to Matuidi.
Absolutely.
But then the thing is that he is like, again, he is performing well in his part, but he is not performing the part we need a player to play. Because see, we had Matuidi, now we have McKennie. What difference does it make to the ball delivery or the service to the front players?
Right.
See, because the thing is that about Chiesa I was talking about, he's a new player, right?
Right.
And he is the star of this season, I would say.
Obviously.
Because see, the thing is that Chiesa, he is different from the other midfielders in one way. He approaches the goal, as simple as that. So and he does that with his own skills. He goes ahead. Have you seen that goal, the latest one, where he like nutmeg two the players and then he crossed it to Ronaldo against Napoli?
Right.
That goal was wonderful.
Wonderful.
See, that is, he is a player who is skillful, who has a very clear goal in his mind to either go and score himself or maybe find someone who can score.
Right.
And then there is another thing, which is this desire, which you can see in his eyes.
He's a very good hard worker, no doubt.
Yeah, he is like, I am a player of Juventus and I'm going to prove it.
Right.
So that's it. Because see, Juventus is not a small team by any means. It has a huge history. It's one of the greatest clubs in Italy.
Right.
So us saying that these players represent Juventus, we feel bad. Because we know, and then Chiesa is the only one playing in black and white who is not just wearing the jersey, he is also wearing the spirit of the team with him. Absolutely. Every run he makes, every time you would see him, like he gets down, like some player pushes him down, he still keeps going. He still keeps going. And then he has this, like, you see that he's a young player. Many young players have this, that they want to, like, they have this hunger inside them.
Right.
So that is one thing which has come out to be good for this Juventus season. And the thing is that we need players in the midfield, as simple as that. To conclude, I would say that we need players in the midfield who will actually maybe come up with something or some sort of service for the front players. And see, the thing is, Morata, he has been really good. He has actually found his form again at Juventus.
Absolutely.
But I don't think he's going to stay
Okay,
next season.
so you don't think he's going to stay next season?
No, because the thing is that Juventus are not going to get him for a permanent deal.
Okay.
And Atletico Madrid has seen how he is doing. So maybe they could again like pose some problem to Juventus that they won't be lending him on loan again.
My God.
So that could be a big issue because we really need Morata with us. He is playing that striker role which was missing last season.
Are you seeing Hasim Awar coming to Juventus next season?
Yeah, I've heard a lot about the transfer rumors about him coming to Juventus along with Locatelli.
Yeah.
So if this happens, I would say it's really good because these two players they can augment the midfield. As simple as that.
And
So
Pogba is a fairy tale, right?
see, I would say if Pogba has to come, then Ronaldo has to go.
Absolutely. That is my point.
That's the thing.
That is my
It's
point.
like the only possible way Pogba can come to Juventus is with a swap deal with Ronaldo coming to
And are
Manchester
you
United.
seeing Ronaldo leave this summer?
I am still not sure about this because, see, personally, I do not want him to leave.
Exactly.
As much as,
Same here.
yeah, so it's like I can understand how much anger and frustration we have as Ronaldo fans seeing him play with such players. But the thing is that we are talking about Cristiano Ronaldo in the end. And if we are true fans, we know who he is and how much he
He can
loves
still
to
make it.
win.
He can still
And there's only one thing he does not like losing. So you tell me, it's like, see, and if you tell me where do you want him to go, I would say Manchester United.
Yes.
Because as simple as that.
Yes. I want
Yeah.
that. I would be very
Yeah.
happy if he does that. I will be very happy.
Yeah. Yeah, because that would be a whole like completion of a circle.
Absolutely.
Like the prodigal son would return.
I would
home.
love that. I would love that to
See,
happen.
so it's like if he leaves, then it has to be Manchester United, no other place.
Yes.
But I'm saying that if he doesn't leave, maybe Juventus come up with something. Maybe they bring out some unknown players who break out. Just imagining things. So I'm just thinking out loud that if something happens and we really push for it, maybe we do it. Okay, we do it. We win the Champions League. Let's say. So then Ronaldo would have achieved so much. Like it would be such a big achievement for him. Because if you say that, okay, you imagine this, like this summer transfer, Ronaldo leaves, he goes to some other club, he does well there, then he retires. 5 or 6 years from now, people are still going to talk about Messi and Ronaldo, right?
Right,
So
absolutely.
they are like, so then maybe you and me, we are having a cup of coffee and we are sitting and we are discussing about his career.
Absolutely.
So, what would these 3 or 4 years mean in his whole career? This spring at Juventus, which he did, him not winning the only thing he was asked to win, he was brought to win. Then we can easily say that these 3 to 4 years would be considered as a failure for him.
Yes. Yes.
That he was not, because see, winning Serie A and all, okay, it's good because we all know that it's amazing to win the league in 3 different countries.
Right. Right.
So that is like then people would be like, okay, Juventus was winning it for the past 7 years, 7 to 8 years. So what difference does he make? But the thing is, they don't see what difference he made for Juventus in Serie A itself.
Actually,
Because even if you talk about
last year they came first because of him, because of his performance.
absolutely, and even if
Just 1 point. No, this year we already had a gut feeling that this season might not be Juventus's, especially after Pirlo came in.
yeah, no, because this was like a restart.
Absolutely.
And there was no way this could happen. And still, because of Ronaldo, they are in this position. Because if you look at the stats, he has scored 47% of the team's goals.
Yes.
And as you saw against Atalanta, he doesn't play. They lose.
I wanted to come to that question itself. Like, do you think this Juventus team, after Ronaldo joined them, is very dependent on him?
Absolutely. In my opinion, absolutely he is like the whole team is dependent on him.
Do you think
Because
if
if you
Allegri,
see,
do you think if Allegri continued after that 2018-19 season, do you think Juventus would have won the Champions League till now?
I don't think so.
Okay.
because as you saw that in the 2018-19 season as well, Juventus's comeback against Atletico Madrid was one man's doing.
Absolutely.
So we can see, because 2018-19, if you saw Ronaldo in the Champions League,
He was a beast.
he was an absolute beast. He did that magical comeback against Atletico Madrid.
Even
He
Ajax,
did not.
almost won it
Yeah.
against Ajax.
Yeah,
Even
he
against
didn't
Lyon.
settle.
Even against Lyon in the next season. You saw
Yeah.
that left foot goal?
Yeah.
Beauty.
Yeah, the weak foot.
Beauty.
Yeah, it was outside the box. And
My
we see
goodness.
such things. Yeah, we see such things happen. And then we feel so bad for him that, first of all, in that Ajax tie,
Yeah.
you can see that Ronaldo scores that beautiful header. Seconds later, Cancelo passes it to the striker and he scores. So, see, now you can't ask Ronaldo to score goals, then come back and defend,
it.
then also goalkeeping, because sometimes Chesney is also passing it to the striker. So you can't ask him to do everything, right? And he is not. And even if he is not the same player he was for the past 6, 7 years ago, because then he
can't
would
always
have
strike back.
Yeah, he can strike back, but the thing is that there is a deficit you have to fill. The thing with Real Madrid was that he was filling the deficit, but the deficit was never increasing. Here he is filling the deficit, and the deficit keeps increasing.
Right.
So it's like, how much can you ask from a player of his age? Like, yes, I would say that, okay, he is Ronaldo, so he has to be there. He was there against Ajax, they didn't win. He was there against Lyon, he didn't win. He wasn't there against Porto, they lost.
Right.
Okay, so maybe this time I would say that maybe if this Porto match would have happened last year, with Chiesa coming up with something like this, along with Ronaldo's good performance, then we would have gone ahead.
Right.
So, as you see, and talking about Allegri, I have heard this news that Allegri told Agnelli that you will have to get rid of Ronaldo for this team to function before he left the team.
Oh my God.
So, he did. And in my opinion, what I felt after reading that was that Allegri didn't believe in Ronaldo's compatibility with the Italian system.
Right.
As simple as that. Because the thing is that in Serie A, he was struggling. For the first 3 matches, he couldn't score. Then he did. He didn't rack up a really good number of goals that season.
But he gave a lot of assists, I would say. He actually became a playmaker for Juventus that season.
Yeah, and you know why that happened? You can even still see him now. He pushes himself to the flank. He does a step over, cuts past the player, gives the cross. Because now he knows that there is no one to give deliveries.
Right.
So he has to become the one to give deliveries. Because in 2018-19, he saw that, okay, I'm not able to score goals here very often because I'm not getting the passes, and maybe the defense is very new to me. Now, see, this season, he is playing better than he did 2018-19. The number of goals he's scoring. So he has understood the game of the Italian system. But the thing is, he was doing the whole, I'll give a cross and then Mandzukic will come. He will head it in and we have a goal. Because Mandzukic was there.
Right.
Then suddenly Mandzukic is gone. It's empty.
I still haven't understood why they did it.
I don't know why.
Easily they could have let Higuain go, and they could have let Mandzukic perform for another season at least.
Yeah, he was doing well.
Very well.
Yeah. And it's like, then suddenly he is gone. Right. So the whole 1920 season, nobody is passing to Ronaldo, and Ronaldo has nobody to pass it to.
Right.
Then Morata came. Then there was this little bit of nostalgia between both of them. That, okay, and then you can see it in their play, that Morata knows Ronaldo, and then Ronaldo knows Morata, because they have played together. And there is this, and there is this connection of, it's like two people with same interest match up, like me and you.
Right.
So, like, we have similar interests, so we have something to talk about, we have something to discuss, and we have a common goal, I would say. Because see, if you look at Morata and Ronaldo, Ronaldo always wants to score goals.
Hmm.
And Morata is someone who wants to like reignite his career by scoring goals because he's a forward.
Right.
So then you see there is this connection that okay, they understand each other. They know what is going to happen next and they know what they are doing.
Absolutely.
Because if you look at the other players coming up front and passing it to Ronaldo, you see Danilo. See, he gives quite a few good crosses to him because he knows Ronaldo well from his Real Madrid days.
Hmm.
But then if you put Danilo in the middle, he comes rushing in, and Ronaldo is on the side. Maybe Dybala is on that other side. He doesn't know what to do. He's thinking, should I pass to Ronaldo? Should I pass to Dybala? And Ronaldo is shouting, pass it to me. Dybala is shouting, pass it to me. He doesn't know what to do. Because if in that place Morata would have been there, Morata would absolutely know whom to pass it to and what to do next.
Right.
Maybe he would pass it to Ronaldo. Maybe Ronaldo chips it over for him to head it in, or maybe he passes it to Ronaldo for Ronaldo himself to go and score the goal,
Right.
or maybe he passes it to Dybala because he knows what to do. Because the other players they don't know what to do. And having Morata this season was very important, and that's why I'm scared if he goes away, what will happen next season? Because we will be in the same situation as 2019-20.
Yeah, because next season we won't be able to buy much players too.
Yeah, because now see,
Juventus are very
uh,
in a
they're
very
still
bad
paying.
condition.
I can't believe Juventus is still like they had to pay Sami Khedira to leave the club. Can you imagine that? Players are bought and sold to get money. He is being sold with money. So it's like, how is it even possible? And they're still paying Sari, you know?
Yeah, they're still paying Sari. Yes, I heard it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
he's
like,
not able to take a job too because he's contractually obligated to Juventus. So he's not able to pick up another job. So he will just sit out the 3 years in his
Yeah.
contract and then he will go. So it's good for him, but bad for Juventus.
so what kind of a financial like team do they have making such decisions?
I don't know.
I mean, what can we say? And everyone is like, Ronaldo takes so much money. He does because he deserves that amount of money.
Yeah.
Because not just about football, you can see his impact on the whole of
Yeah,
Serie A.
exactly.
See,
24 hours.
so many people.
24 hours inside his signing, he generated $100 million. So let's not
Yeah,
talk
from
about
jersey
that.
sales.
Let's
Yeah.
not talk about
So-
that.
Exactly. So that's a different level.
True. So now, let's just go ahead of football. I think the more anger we show here, the more our heads will go bang. So I think
Yeah, because it's pointless after all us people talking about
Yes,
this because
so
we
let's
know
just
they
be
won't be able to
optimistic.
give us.
let's just be optimistic and let's see what happens in the future. I hope Ronaldo wins another UCL, but let's see what happens. So now,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the Snyder cut. Did you like it? If you have watched it, obviously.
Yes, I have watched it and yes, I liked it.
Okay.
So,
Do you think WandaVision, like Disney Plus brought in WandaVision and HBO Max brought in Snyder Cut? So, do you think OTT platform is good for this kind of content?
see, I would say that it's like it's an improvement, I would say, when it comes to making these things available to the people.
Mm-hmm.
But then the feel of such things only come in theater.
Right. So, which one did
So-
you like the most? Like how much did you like the Snyder Cut in terms of scale 1 to 10? Or you can compare it with the Justice League if you want.
Yeah. So see, the one line I would use to describe or maybe differentiate the 2017 Justice League and the Zack Snyder's Justice League
Right.
would be this: that the 2017 Justice League
Mm-hmm.
is a pile of paper which has been scattered. Okay, it has been scattered,
Uh-huh.
and Zack Snyder comes into the room.
Mm-hmm.
He picks up those pages,
Mm-hmm.
he organizes them,
Mm-hmm.
and keeps them on the table. That is Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Absolutely. Very well said. So, I honestly am a big fan of Zack Snyder's filmography. So, when this, I'm campaigning for this thing since 7th grade, 8th grade, I would be saying this. So, I, shared these petitions to my friends so that, अगर future में कभी ये हो जाए तो अच्छा होगा. So now, for me, it was a very, very happy feeling that I am finally able to see this movie, and I think I was very happy with the final result that we got. Like, they did the VFX and editing in like 6 months. So,
Yes.
how happy were you with the final product? Like, were you surprised that it was so different? Because it was different, no doubt about that.
Yeah, so it was like it was building on something which was incomplete. What Zack Snyder did was he put the things into the proper places, adding a few touches in between.
Right, right,
And those things actually, it's like it shows how small differences make the big change.
right.
Because these small things which we can see in the movie, and yes, the story was a bit different. We had Dark Sea, and maybe that is some people will say the whole plot is different.
Yeah.
See, the whole plot is not different, only the ending is different. Because we saw that Dark Sea did not come out and fight with our heroes, right?
Uh-huh.
That was left for the next movie, which we hopefully comes.
Restore the
So
Snyderverse.
yeah, it's people are going crazy about that. But yeah, and the thing is that so you can see here that him breaking it down to parts. First of all, that was really great. That whole idea of breaking it down to parts makes the 4 hours worth it.
Absolutely.
Because for me, see, I saw it was like 4 hours. I was like, okay, I'll have to take out time to watch this. Then
Did you
I took
feel
out
like the
time.
time ran away? Did you feel like the time ran away?
Yes, it did, because after I was indulged into it, then I was like, and it always left us with it always like ended one part with a twist or maybe something which needed us, and it was very, very organized. It was like it described one character, one part. So it's like, see, Marvel, if you consider this Zack Snyder's Justice League to the whole Avengers Marvel universe, you can see what Marvel did was Marvel obviously did a better planning than DC. As simple as that. Because see, Marvel was very clear with their goal.
They needed
That-
the starting point and the end point.
Yeah, so
And
that's
after
about
Man of Steel, they are just figuring out कि हाँ इसके बाद कहाँ जाएंगे. See, I heard this that you know Chris Terrio, right, who wrote the Batman vs Superman movie and the Justice League movie. So like the Warner Brothers executives told him that after Man of Steel we are doing Batman vs Superman, and then we will do a Wonder Woman movie, a Aquaman movie, and then we will go Justice League. So you know they were just scrambling over these projects कि हाँ हमको ये movie इधर चाहिए, ये movie इधर चाहिए, अभी आप story लिखो हमारे लिए. So it is so rude to the filmmakers and the artists who work their hearts out for these projects.
that is true.
So what do you think about WandaVision? How good was that?
Yeah, WandaVision, I really liked it. No doubt. It was, I would say, it was like, how can I put this? It was like a very fresh
Very
content
fresh.
into the Marvel universe. Because the whole idea of the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s coming in, that whole what I absolutely loved was the way they put it. Like there was an idea which I could understand what they really wanted to do, and they did that. So you can see the changes you see and the attention to details in the old scenes which we saw, the black and white scenes. We saw the screen was square, then the screen panned out.
The aspect
then
ratio changed. Exactly.
yeah, the aspect ratio changes every time they come from past to like present.
Yeah, right.
And then the story which was portrayed was also really good, because the thing is that firstly, I would be really frank with you, I did not know that WandaVision is connected to the MCU.
Okay.
I thought this was just a side story about these two characters.
Okay.
But then my friends were like, bro, you have to watch this, man. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And then I watched it.
Right.
And then I did not regret it. Because, see, I like to be connected with everything Marvel, or the whole like the scenario.
Comic book universe, you would say.
Yeah, the comic book universe and the ones which are being portrayed in film as well. Because, see, the thing is that WandaVision, it spoke about its own new story, but also building on what has happened earlier and what will happen next. So them bringing in that whole Captain Marvel aspect to this thing is also really cool. Then as we can see that White Vision, that's not a spoiler, but then the White Vision, he is not dead in the end, right?
Right.
He flies off. So that leads to something in the future. Then then the scrolls coming and picking up the she was the
Setting
daughter
up
of the
various projects, right?
yeah. So I couldn't remember her name. She was the daughter of the pilot who partnered Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
So see, that was also, these are all connected in their own ways. Then Doctor Strange is also somewhere involved into all this. So
Right.
it's like there's this really, like, it's a good mix, and it's like, it's like Marvel is like, they pick up something which is new,
Right.
and then they do it exactly how it is supposed to be done.
Right.
Because firstly, it was the comics.
Right.
I would say DC was better at comics than Marvel. That is, everybody
Everyone
deep
knows that.
down
The
knows
storylines, the
that.
depth in the characters, it is much better in DC, no doubt.
Yeah. So DC was known for that. Then what happened? Marvel was not very much good at that, but it was good at the things which are coming up.
Right.
It was good at understanding trends. It was good at modernizing itself.
Right.
So then it came up with the movies. And the movies, they were like so good for us. It's like the people who have read comic, they would also not feel bad that, oh my god, they're spoiling the story by making a movie out of it. As so many people who read novels do. See, some people who read novels, including me, sometimes we do not want the novel to be portrayed into a film.
Because we know what is going to happen in the end, right?
Yeah, and it's like we know what is going to happen. Also, we hope that it happens the way it happened. Because
Exactly.
if you change the story, because see, a book can be of 400 pages, but a movie, only some Zack Snyder's movies or some movies like that could be of 4 hours. Not all movies, right? So then you feel like maybe it is repetitive because we know what's happening. And then there's this short time to understand what is going to happen. And the biggest thing when it comes to converting a book into a movie is that it kills the imagination.
Right.
Because in your own mind, if you read a book, you imagine the characters different. But when you see them in the movie, maybe you do not like them, maybe they are better than your imagination. That's a different story. But turn it the other way. If someone watches a movie, it has happened to me once. I watched this movie. It was like, oh my god, it's really good. Then I get to know that it's like it's taken from a book. I'm like, okay, I know the story, but let's give the book a try. Maybe I could get a few more details.
Right.
I read the book, and throughout the book, the two main characters, like, see, when I'm reading the book, I can feel and I can maybe imagine how the things are happening in the story. I can maybe like somehow imagine the characters, their face, their body, the physical attributes. But then now that I've seen the movie, I cannot think of the main characters in any other way than they were portrayed in the movie.
Absolutely.
So those actors are the only faces coming up in my mind whenever I'm reading about them. And it's never that I can imagine them in the other way. Because it's not possible, because that's how the human mind works.
Okay.
Because now that you have like thought of it, see, if I tell you like if I tell you that, see, this is Cristiano Ronaldo, you see his face, and then you maybe speak about him, that face is only going to come to your mind.
Exactly.
But if you turn it around, someone who has never seen him, they start to imagine him some other way. Maybe they imagine him having a beard. Maybe they imagine him having a tattoo, since many football players do.
Right.
But then when you look at him, then you're like, oh, okay, so this is how he looks. So that's how the thing is. So converting books into movies is about that only. It kills the imagination. And when it comes to comics, we see that in comics, the most important thing, again, is not to kill the imagination. It is to reproduce the most possible similarities into the film.
Right.
And Marvel did it at the first try. It did it with Robert Downey Jr. coming in as Iron Man. And then you start to feel, after watching Robert Downey Jr.'s acting and his whole get-up as Iron Man, maybe the book was written on him. He was not he was not taken like as a person to depict the book.
Right.
Because you see how similar they are in person. And then Marvel did not stop there. It started to build, and that's how the thing is that when in 2008 Iron Man came out, Marvel was not like, oh, we just made a movie. Let's put it up. Let's see how the people react. It's our first time converting a comic book into a movie. Let's see. Like, it's not the first time. It has happened earlier, but they were not, they were like half-hearted. This one was really taken into serious consideration, making a movie like this, right?
Right.
So they're like, okay, let's see what happens. But they were not like that. They were confident that we know the people are going to like it. And that's what they had planned for what is to come next. And the thing is, when we talk about Avengers, we talk about Justice League, it's a team, right? So the thing is, every team, it has some important players, some not so important players. Or you better knew, but when it comes to seeing them together, you should know about them. So what Marvel did was it built on the characters. It focused on their story and how they came to be Avengers.
Right.
So the origin stories, because as we know, even in comics, the single characters are described like one by one, right? Like this is this person, and then they are combined or collaborated together to make a huge team, and then fans of each other characters would come together, right? So that's what Marvel did. And even you would say that, okay, where is Hawkeye's movie? Where is Black Widow's movie? Then you would be like, they are important, but they weren't as important as Iron Man or Captain America, right?
Right. Coming to that, tell me this. Which movie do you think? I will talk about a solo movie, okay? Like Captain America the Winter Soldier. Like, it's such a good movie, such a good action movie, but it didn't use the MCU like the Marvel formula of being funny, cheeky, and all those things. What I think is people, just trademark the DC as being dark and Marvel as being light. But what I think is before Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel was not very light. What do you think about that? Marvel was pretty dark toned even then.
See, this concept of DC being dark and Marvel being light, it comes from the days of comics.
Right.
Because we can see the whole environment of a character, the aspect of the story, then the other side characters involved, their stories.
Right.
We can see that in DC that everything is dark, and the main difference, in my opinion, like between DC and Marvel, is that DC portrays heroes and villains as people who can be real. It's like, it's not just mythical characters. They have a few mythical characters because nobody can be Superman.
Right.
But somebody can be Joker.
Absolutely.
So there is this connect between people, and it's like we all know that there are two extremes to what amazes us. One that is unimaginable to us, which is very new to us, and one which we connect to, which we can relate to. Because when we can relate to such things, and we saw that masterpiece of a movie, the Todd Phillips Joker.
Right.
We saw how well he captured the story of someone who can become Joker.
Beautiful.
So and people say that, oh my god, this is all fiction. The thing is that DC was always at the back of their mind trying to connect with the people, tell them that maybe this is still possible.
Right.
That yes, something like this can happen. But Marvel, on the other hand, no, because Marvel is always a bit upbeat about their superheroes, and that is what DC is actually preferred by a more a more older audience.
Yeah,
I would say.
I am actually a big fan of the DC animation movies. Like Flashpoint Paradox, Batman: The Killing Joke, and a few other movies like Justice League Dark, the recent one.
Yeah.
I mean, they were so amazing. So what I feel is MCU, like Marvel, is converting their content, which is not that good, into very good movies. But what is
Absolutely.
DC doing? DC is not able to do it on the big screen in cinema, but they're doing pretty fine with animation, I would say. DC animation is top notch, I would say.
Yeah, because DC animation was something we did even back then.
Right.
So that was like, see, if you look at the forming or like the animated series of Batman and stuff, they were so good. And it was like they made us feel like the character.
Right.
They made us like, okay, I see this, and then the people are like, okay, like this is how it should be, and then it captured our imaginations how we want things to be. Because
Right.
see, animation you can make things the way you want them to be.
Hmm.
Because in movies it's all individuals performing, so you cannot control everyone, right?
Right.
And then there's this idea behind things, because if you look at comic writers can be animation writers as well, but they
Right.
cannot be movie writers.
Right.
Because writing a book and writing a movie, even though they seem pretty simple or maybe connected, they are not, because these are two different media. And there has to be some sort of a difference, like there has to be some sort of a like skill in them to write a movie. Or maybe because some people are only able to tell stories through visuals. They do not know how to portray those stories through words.
Right.
And some people play so well with words, but they are not very good at making people see how it is going to be, because they do it with their words.
Right.
You read a couple of lines, you understand, oh my god, this is what is happening. You see it in front of you, but they are not able to show it to you.
Right. Right.
Like they are not going to show it to you directly. It will be indirect. So
Absolutely.
that's the thing, which like is the main difference between animations being good at DC and not at Marvel. Because Marvel, they did well with the movies. Because see, you can actually like match this thing up with our online classes situation. It's like DC is a really good teacher
Right.
who is really good at traditional ways. Marvel is not a good, so like, it is not good at not with good with people. You can say that maybe he is not good in the traditional way.
Right.
Then you see this option called online classes comes up, which is in our case movies.
Uh-huh.
Then you see that Marvel suddenly becomes so excited because he can work from home. He does not have to look into the eyes of the students. He can look into the camera and speak. He is good at doing that.
So
Or
in
maybe
other
he's
words, they can, delve away from the actual story of the comics and actually make their own stories with the comic storylines and characters.
Yeah, because see, a teacher has to deal with the students in the classroom, right? See, I would see if you look at DC, maybe DC, it is good at handling the audience of the class, maybe
Right.
maintaining the discipline, because not like a teacher just doesn't teach; he has to manage the class as well, right?
Right.
That's what defines a good teacher and a not so good teacher. Because if you are a teacher, you know what to do. Because the whole subjective part of teaching something is always known to every teacher. There are only two things that matter: the way you teach and the way you behave or maybe affect the people you teach.
Right.
So that's how it is. And maybe DC was really good at that, but they are not familiar with the technologies. Maybe they do not know how to use MS Teams very well. So then they are like, okay, we tried. And that's how the DC movies look like. Not talking about a few movies like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, they were good. So
Right.
see, Aquaman, Wonder Woman are like those things like when the traditional teacher gets the option to use a whiteboard and teach. That is what is
Right.
that is what is Wonder Woman and Aquaman. See, that is what it is. But then if you are asking them to make a Google form and take a test, that would be like Batman versus Superman. That would be like something very new to them.
Right.
But then Marvel, on the other hand, it has become so familiar with all this technology that it can do anything it wants.
Right.
So then there is this endless possibility through the online mode for the teacher named Marvel to teach. But the
Right.
teacher named he would teach very well, even better than Marvel when it comes to taking classes physically. So if you see that maybe the coronavirus goes away, which we really hope it does soon,
Right.
then the audience, which is our students, okay. So the students, they go to one class named DC, one class named Marvel. Then they feel But who is this teacher? He was not able to teach us for the past few years properly, or maybe months. Then he is suddenly teaching us so well, because then you look at this teacher named DC. He is interacting so well with the students in the class. He
Very well
is
said.
so very well familiarized with his class, his whiteboard, the bench he
Yes.
sits on, the
Yes.
students who sit, the way they behave. And then you look at Marvel, he's like, he's sitting in one place, he's not moving. Okay, he's not moving at all. He doesn't know how to handle his students very well. He just only knows how to teach, but that teaching is okay, but it is not being like put forward properly for the students.
Right.
Then they feel this difference, because that's how it's going to be. Because us people who have read the comics and we go into the movies, we are like, we have taken the physical classes, then we are going into online classes.
Right.
But the new students who have started online classes, they haven't even gone physically. When they go physically, it's like you tell somebody like who just watched Endgame
Right.
to maybe read a comic of Iron Man and a comic of Batman. Even though he absolutely loves Iron Man and his heroics in Endgame, if he has to give a proper and a humble answer, he would say Batman's comic is better.
Yes.
Then you can say, yeah, then people will be like, no, he will say Iron Man because he likes Iron Man. So see, that way you can say, for example, I like Ronaldo, right?
Right.
So maybe I can say that I have a friend who likes Messi. He sees Messi's heading and Ronaldo's heading.
Right.
Even though he likes Messi, he will say that Ronaldo's heading is better. Similarly, if you ask me to watch Ronaldo's dribbling and Messi's dribbling,
Right.
even though I absolutely love Ronaldo and support him at any cost, I would still say Messi's dribbling is better.
Obviously, we have to
Because
accept that.
yeah, because some people are good at something. Nobody is good at everything.
Right.
So DC was good at comics, Marvel is good at movies.
Right.
As simple as that. So enjoy what you love. As simple as that. Because if you like movies, then you watch Marvel. If you like comics, maybe you read DC. If you like movies but are a DC fan, then you just have to hope things work out like they did for Zack Snyder.
Right.
That's the thing, because comics are not being written now, right? Like very few, and like not the great creators are not there, right? The ones who wrote those comics,
Right. Right.
like as we talk about the great Stan Lee. So it's like he made those comics what they are. So it's like nobody can write Spider-Man or for say any other as the number of heroes he has created. Nobody can write those like he did, because they came from within.
Right.
Is what happened, because nobody came up. It's like it was not like that. Stanley was playing in the garden, he saw a spider and it bit his friend, and then he did not turn Spider-Man. That friend, he was hurt and he was saying that just imagine what if this spider had bit me and I had got powers like a spider. And then Stanley got like, oh my god, okay, this can happen, maybe I can write a story out of this. See, this did not happen. Like, inspiration is different. Being told what to do is different. So this came from within, that maybe he thought that maybe he was sitting in his room, he was bored, he saw a spider on the wall. He just thought that maybe if this spider bites me, yes, maybe I will get the pain or maybe a poison into my blood. But then what if this thing turns the other way? What if I become like the spider?
Right.
And then so then it was like, okay, I'm getting to something. Let me get my pen and paper. And then he starts writing. Then he starts like, okay, maybe I can see this character in my head who is red and blue in color. His whole body has webs on it.
True.
So maybe I can start to like imagine him on the paper. Maybe I can put him on the paper. Then he starts to sketch. And then he becomes into this like person who knows what he's doing, and then he takes inspiration, comes up with things of his own, then he writes the comic, right? And see, such great writers, they have become great for some reason, right? So, and nowadays it's all very fast moving. People do not have that much time, that much simplicity in life to look at life the way we saw it back then. Because see, now if you look at that whole situation, that he was sitting in his room bored, he looked at that spider. If Stanley was like sitting in his room now, he would be on his phone.
Right.
He would be looking at pictures of spider. But that same picture of spider won't give him the same feel as a real spider crawling on the wall.
Right.
Because then he would be like, what would happen? He would be like, what if this spider bites me? Then he would Google, what happens when spider bites you? Then it would come up that you will get this. You can take this remedy. It will say wiki how to escape, how to recover from spider bite with pictures. So then he would be like, oh, okay, that's it. I get it. So then it would end. This curiosity would end there, right? But
Right.
then that was not the thing back then.
Very
So
true.
that's the thing. Maybe there are still great writers. We can never say never.
Hmm.
So, but no, not many people write comics now.
True.
So
True.
as you can see, yeah, the thing is that that's why older people like DC, because
Like a
DC was
true
doing.
example is Jeff Jones. You know, Jeff Jones was the DC head at one point when Justice League and Batman v Superman came in. But then he was the one who destroyed it. Like, who just scattered some projects he wanted to make with Zack Snyder, and then ultimately he pushed away Zack Snyder and it was all on mess, and then ultimately he had to resign. So it's the same way, I would say. Like, he's a very
Yeah,
good
because
comic writer.
what he thought was that this is like, it's like what he thought was as simple as that,
Hmm.
that the comic is a bottle
Right.
and the movie is a glass.
Hmm.
I will just pour the content into it.
Wow.
It does not work like that, because you cannot like write about like this person, say for example Ben Affleck. You can't write every movement of his. He has something of his own. He
Right.
is a renowned actor for some reason.
Hmm.
You talk about Henry Cavill. He is such a renowned actor because of his own personality, right? Maybe
Absolutely.
he has to portray Superman, but then there are so many other things that go into the movie. See, if I draw a really good painting,
Right.
okay, I draw a really good painting, it has such beautiful views, and then someone tells me that you use VFX and you make this into a reality. I would be like, I can draw this really well, but maybe I'm not that good with VFX.
Right.
And maybe I do not have that much knowledge of the people who are good at it, so that I can call them up and say that, okay, you draw this for me in VFX. That is
Absolutely.
what has happened, because they are like, my comics are so good, but I'm not able to portray it there.
Hmm.
Because even the teachers, I'm like, as I was saying, see, the teachers also feel bad sometimes, that it's like, I am such a good teacher when it comes to teaching students face to face,
Right.
but why am I not able to do it on the online mode? I'm trying. It's not that I'm not trying. I'm
Right.
trying to understand it, but such things are new to me. And you cannot you cannot think that people like, you give something new to someone and you're like, okay, you do it and you will be able to do it. It's not like that, right? And that's
Right.
why I've seen so many students who get angry, frustrated, and then they mock their teachers for saying like, oh my god, he doesn't know how to use this. Like, oh, what is he doing? You have heard this, right? Many students are going on about online classes like this, right?
Right.
That maybe, for example, if the teacher is unable to turn on their camera, which is like, it's a simple thing to do, but maybe not for them,
Right. Right.
because nobody, like you and me, even though we have similarities, we have common goals, we have common interests, we are not the same person, right?
Absolutely.
So maybe that's why we have, see, people are very judgmental, no doubt. And people say that I do not judge, and the other second they would be like, you saw that guy. So see, that's the thing, because humans are naturally judgmental. And this
Right.
thing about us judging, that if you are taking online class, you have to be good at it. That's your job. See, taking online class is not a teacher's job. Teaching is a teacher's job.
Absolutely.
So maybe they are doing that well, but they are not able to use the mode which they have been put to do it. See, it's
Right.
like as simple as that. It's a swimmer who swims in the water. Okay,
Right.
a swimmer who swims in water.
Hmm.
He's really good at swimming.
Hmm.
But then you put him in a pool. Just imagine, this is not going to happen. You put him in a pool filled with jelly,
Right.
and you ask him to swim.
He won't be able to do it.
Yeah, because he can still swim. He will still do those same strokes he does on the water. But then this thing is different to him. And he is not, it's not that he's standing there. He's trying, he's pushing harder, because he knows that he is facing some resistance from the jelly.
Absolutely.
So that's how the thing is going on. So, and that is how the thing about, see, such things, we can see that many things are connected, right? Like online classes, offline classes, Marvel and DC. DC is trying to make such good movies. They are getting, because see, experience always matters.
Right.
They have been doing this for the past few years, and now they're getting that knack of it. That okay, now I think this I have to do to make things right, or maybe this is what my audience wants.
Right.
Because they put Batman versus Superman, it was a mess. Then they were like, and they faced a lot of criticism. And then criticism is of two types: constructive and destructive.
Absolutely.
There are many who talk about destructive, but the very few who talk about constructive are the ones who make change. As simple as that. Because pointing out others' mistakes is what everybody does.
Right.
Coming up with solutions to those problems is what very few people do, and like coming up with those solutions resolves the problem.
Right.
So then they saw the true fans who are not shouting like without any idea, oh my god, you spent like wasted my money, man. I spent this amount of money to watch this movie, and what nonsense is this, man? I read the comic, it was so good, you spoiled this hero for me. But then the real fans would be like, okay, they tried. We know it wasn't that good.
Right.
And then you would point out the things which were missing. And then DC, and see, it's like DC and these like big associations, they're like audience reaction matters to them. Every movie creator's audience reaction matters to them.
Right.
So then they see these constructive criticisms coming in. See, it's like they get 10 reviews, from 10, 2 are constructive. They build on those. And then from those 2, maybe one is where in one of them, there is this one point which can be implemented. They implement that, then that small amount of audience who actually wanted to see that are happy. Then part by part, they start building. So we have to give this time, because we cannot expect DC to make a movie like Avengers in the next year.
Right.
Because it was not that Avengers made this Avengers Endgame in 1 year.
It took them 10 years, a decade.
Yeah, it was being planned for a past decade. So that's how it is. Because Marvel came, like it started off with a good note. That's why nobody saw like that. Maybe they did not like point fingers at them that you're not good at movies, because Marvel was good at movies. Some people are good at some things, others are not.
Right.
But then that's the thing, that Marvel, then it built on it. It did not stop. And what has happened to DC, it started on a slow way, but it is taking off slowly. See, Wonder Woman was the movie which I absolutely loved.
Right.
Out
Right.
of all the all DC movies I've seen, like excluding the Christian Bale trilogy. Okay, so that is a different level.
Okay.
Because that is what DC movies should be.
Absolutely.
Because see, this DCEU, that does not include in the DCEU, right? There's the Christopher Nolan trilogy.
No, it doesn't include the DCU.
Yeah, because that is not a superhero movie. That is cinema.
Right.
That is cinema.
Absolutely.
Because, yeah, you look at that and it's a cult classic. Because see, you tell someone that you want to watch a Batman movie, you come watch this, and then they would be like, okay, wow. Because that is something, because there is this clear vision of turning a character into a 2D character into someone who can be like moving in front of your eyes as a real actor portraying him. Because
Very true.
that trilogy is what defines a superhero movie. And maybe in my opinion, like the Christopher Nolan trilogy is better than many other Marvel movies as well.
True, very true.
That's how good it was. And it had such performances, and it was like people who believed in their character. You see Heath Ledger, he committed to his character. We all know about his story of method acting.
Right.
What he did with that part of his is like unbelievable. You see Joaquin Phoenix, he did the same with his character. See, maybe not as good as Heath Ledger, because in my opinion, the best Joker ever is Heath Ledger. The best Arthur Fleck is Joaquin Phoenix.
Absolutely.
He brought out the human part of Joker. So those movies, see, even the Todd Phillips Joker is not part of the DCEU. See, that is a bit different from what DCEU is doing, right? Because you see the Robert Pattinson Batman which is coming, it is also not part of the DCEU.
Right. It's an Elseworld.
See, the thing is that yeah, so it's different. Similar to MCU and the movies we have seen in Sony. So they are also different. because Sony movies are not the same as MCU, right? But the thing is that what happened, Marvel was doing well with Sony, they did better with MCU. But the thing is that DC was okay. They were like okay with the DCEU, but they were really good with the other films, which they did. And because that is what, like, you know what, DC, if you ask DC now, that what you really want to do you really want to do Jared Leto playing Joker, or do you want Joaquin Phoenix playing Joker? They would always
It's a
choose Joaquin
very
Phoenix
interesting
because
question actually, because Jared Leto, I think in Snyder Cut he did. I think, see, Joaquin Phoenix did well not only because of himself, his acting skills, but also because what the director wanted him to do.
yeah,
David Ayer didn't really do much about him. See, I will tell you this: Snyder did what David Ayer couldn't do in a whole movie.
yeah.
Snyder did that in 4 minutes.
Yeah, you can
So
say that because see, first of all, it was a surprise that Joker
honestly,
showed up
yeah,
in
obviously,
Snyder Cut,
right.
and then you see Batman, and see then there are personal preferences as well, and then there's acting. See, we know that Jared Leto is a good actor,
Right,
but it doesn't compare to Joaquin Phoenix.
right,
So it's like another thing is once the whole thing is sorted, one thing comes down to is which is quality.
right.
So you see, because see the thing is that Jared Leto is okay. I would say I was not that fascinated with his performance as Joker because see, Suicide Squad was a mess.
Right,
He
right.
did well in Zack Snyder's Justice League
Absolutely.
because then I could feel that because see, Joker has always been see personally my favorite character in DC is Batman, and my favorite villain of all time is Joker
Right.
because Joker is not just a character; he's an emotion. You can relate to him. Sometimes you feel like कि मतलब ये गलत कर रहा है बट इसका कुछ पॉइंट तो है ना ये
हाँ,
कर रहा है
बैक स्टोरी है
तो
पीछे,
लाइक
मतलब एक सैड बैक
हाँ
स्टोरी है
वही
पीछे, एक वाइटल
कुछ
रीजन है
रीजन
उसके
है
पीछे.
इसका ये करने का
हाँ,
so that's his that's his side of the world which he has मतलब the way he has captured our like interest in him
absolutely.
and that's why see the Joker we saw in Zack Snyder's Justice League was something like the real Joker. It spoke with this quirky but yet serious. It was funny but yet serious. This is how Joker is. He
Right.
makes people laugh, but he's always serious. So that's the thing we saw. His acting, his dialogue delivery, that showed how a Joker, like how someone like portraying Joker should do it. Like, but then see that's the thing about. I would say that I do not really like Jared Leto as a Joker because when you get the taste of something really good, you don't go back to the normal stuff.
Absolutely.
So we have seen Heath Ledger and what level he has taken to like the Joker
Wow.
character. Because see, the thing is that each character has a few aspects to it.
Right.
Heath Ledger focused on the madness
Right.
of what Joker can be when he is mad.
Right.
Joaquin Phoenix focused on the human side of it.
Absolutely.
What Joker is deep down.
Right.
Because that's how he portrayed it because and it's like it's like when I see that this actor is playing this character there is always you get to see there is always this one thing which is different from maybe how the original character is because that's how the actor portrays or maybe perceives the character
Right.
in their own mind. So in maybe Heath Ledger's opinion, reading about Joker, his comics, he found those parts of madness, those parts where he was so like you can say he was out of his mind. And it's like these things which he did as a Joker, maybe they attracted him more. Maybe
Right.
he thought that I wanted to portray that more. And maybe Joaquin Phoenix read about Joker
Absolutely.
he read between the lines. He saw the deep meaning behind him doing such things. And then he realized that now I have to become Joker. It's like I have to become not the Joker, I have to become the person who became the Joker.
Right.
See, it might sound a bit messed up, but
Right.
he did not become the Joker. He became the person who went on to become the Joker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So moving on, let's now move to the next segment of our topic. I think we discussed a lot about football, and I think the comic book universe in general, the comic book universe that we talked about, I think it was a great discussion. So now I have the
Yes.
last two questions for you. The second last question that I
Okay.
want to ask you is, what's your philosophy of life, and what do you want to achieve in the life that's ahead of you?
Okay. My philosophy of life.
Right.
See, in life, you you have only one life, right?
Absolutely.
So my philosophy is that it's not about the journey, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Right.
See,
Absolutely.
people focus on oh, I want to become this person, I want to become this person, not considering the hard work, maybe the determination it takes to reach there. And see, because see, it's like the thing is that we look back on memories
Right.
of maybe good or bad, and then we feel the things that we did, and then we think that see, it's like, for example, you say that I was with this person, and then suddenly this happened and we are not together. So maybe we then you look back at those times and you feel like, what could have been,
Right.
like what could I have done differently to get most out of that moment. So the thing is, in life, it's not about the journey. It's sorry, the destination. It's about the journey.
Absolutely.
Because even in my life, my goal is to, like, even when I'm gone, I want people to remember me for who I was.
That is
See,
what
and
is.
yeah, that's life. Because see, life is going to throw rocks at you.
Absolutely.
Some will hit you, some will miss you. But what's important is those that hit you don't hit you that hard that you fall down and don't keep moving on.
Very well said.
That's the thing. And one quote which I always keep with me, my
Right.
father first introduced me to it. It was from the movie Rocky, and
Yes.
Sylvester Stallone says, "It's not about how hard you can get hit. It's about it's not about how sorry. It was not about how hard you can hit.
Right.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward."
Very well said. Very well said.
And that's what really sums up life. Because see, life is not just about the material things we possess. See, it's like you say, for example, us young people, there is this always this notion about having a girlfriend, having a boyfriend, right?
Absolutely.
Like, okay, oh my god, you have a girlfriend, that's so cool. Maybe you have a boyfriend, that's so cool. See, those people, they focus more on having a person to call their girlfriend,
Right.
but not a person who is their girlfriend in person. Like, it's what I mean to say is that it's not just to say, it's to be with that person and to have that connection. Because see, you don't declare someone as your girlfriend on the first day. You have to have that connection between you to become familiar with each other and then call yourself a thing.
Right.
So that's the thing, because in life you will face many situations, and nobody knows what will happen tomorrow.
Right.
So you cannot feel like, oh my god, what has happened, and you cannot, and setbacks should not stop you from moving on. Because the thing is that if you don't fail, you don't get to learn anything new.
Right.
So another part of it's like, see, if it's like you get it easy, okay, you get your life very easy, you succeed, you become a one night wonder, is what everybody knows this term, one night wonder. Maybe
Right.
you become famous for some reason, okay,
Right.
and you did not work hard for it, okay, you
Right.
just did it, then you got it, and then people ask you, what did you do to become this? What do you say? कुछ नहीं किया था, हो गया automatic. See, that's the thing. There are three kind of people. One which have become something but do not know how. There are two who have become something and they know what they have done. And then there's this third category, which I really want to become, is that they have done something and the world knows why. So nobody comes up to
Right.
question them why it happened.
Right.
They already know why it happened. Because if you see someone in your maybe a friend group, you all decide to go to a party. He doesn't, or maybe she doesn't. She decides to stay back. Maybe she's doing something on her own. Maybe you guys don't know what. And then after a few years, she comes up with her own company. Maybe it's a startup about some sort of a tech topic. You guys were like, ये कब कर लिया इसने? ये कब कर लिया इसने? ये उसने तब कर लिया
सही है
जब तुम लोग बाहर जाके घूम रहे थे और वो अपने रूम में अकेले. Because that's how like the grades are made, right? You see Elon Musk, he was doing things at his like at our age, which
Right.
we cannot even imagine.
Right.
So and it's like to us, it's like something which is like ये तो थोड़ा ज्यादा हो गया ना भाई. Like this. Because see, ज़्यादा करोगे तो ज़्यादा मिलेगा ना.
Right. Right.
And another thing is that see, hard work is another aspect of life, right? But hard work can be a bit different when it comes to the way people perceive it, because even the people who clean the streets are not like, with no disrespect, they work hard.
Absolutely.
But then you will be like, see, I am also working hard, he's also working hard, but I am driving a car, he's driving a cycle. So it's like we both are working hard, but then why are we not getting the equal or maybe the same result?
Right.
Because
Right.
the thing is, hard work is not a singular component. It has a few other things which depend on it. One being the timing, maybe the situation, and the other thing is direction. Because
Right.
working hard in a random direction is not good, right? Because it will not yield you any result.
Right.
You keep running on. See, it's like it's the thing, like if Elon Musk, he would have worked hard on something which he did not believe in. He does not see, because sometimes in life we decide, because we make such decisions which nobody other believes in, but we do. Because maybe you see that when you look at Elon Musk, do you really think that at that time, him pitching his idea of maybe Tesla or SpaceX to other people would believe him? They would be like, "Arey, what is this, man? You are wasting our money and time. How will this be true?" So
Right.
at that time, if he would have worked hard in the wrong direction by not following his gut feeling or maybe his belief, he would not have become the Elon Musk he is. Because sometimes in life it's about taking risks. And he did.
Right.
He was the only one who believed himself.
Right.
And apart from Elon Musk, let's talk about someone who is very close to us. Us Bengalis, we are very proud to have such an honorable person in our history, Satyajit Ray.
Right.
You talk about Satyajit Ray's story about Pather Pachali.
Oof. Nice.
You get to know that at that time, cinema was only about dancing, music, having some sort of a very open story. But then he came up with this idea about Pather Pachali, which did not have any movie, many song, which was like the movie-like feeling at that time. It did not have a dance
Right.
number. It did not have songs.
Right.
It was just raw story.
Right.
And then his production had to be stopped because people stopped funding him because they did not believe in him. He had to sell his wife's jewelries to make up the money to make that movie work out.
Right.
And we all know what a great hit it had become. And
Right.
it still resonates to us people, not just Bengalis.
He received the
to other
Academy
people.
Award for that movie in
Yeah, he was
1990s.
the first Indian to win an honorary Oscar award
Right.
for lifetime achievement.
Right.
And see, because at that time, if he would have been like, okay, if they are not thinking like this, so maybe working hard in this won't help. So I'll do something else. I'll make a movie with songs in it. So he will work hard in that as well, because hard work is required in everything. So he will work hard in making that other movie as well.
Absolutely.
But that would not be the right direction,
Absolutely.
because he believes that he has that feeling inside him that I know what I'm doing and I can do it no matter what others say. And that's why he became successful.
Right. Right.
So that's life. So that's why I was telling you in the beginning of our talk that whatever you do what you love. Because it's like, I can't tell you that you go become this person, you go become a surgeon. See, if I tell you go become a surgeon because you're going into medical is a vast field. I'm like, you know what? Surgeon is the best thing to do. You do that. It'll be good for you.
Right.
But deep down, you want to become a dentist. So then you would be like, I just wanted to remove teeth. I'm removing some other human body parts. But then it's like, I can still do it, and still you will work hard because it takes hard work to do anything.
Right.
But then you will work hard to do something you do not love.
Uh-huh.
And that's the thing, because when you do something that you love, you're not working,
Right.
you are enjoying it.
Right.
And that's the thing, because if you look at the people who have become successful, they have not been told to do that this thing you will do and you will be good. That's how, because they believed in themselves and they did what they loved. That's how it is. Because maybe someone, I'm not saying that maybe they did not, like, they were not told by someone, but
Right.
maybe someone introduced them to something
Right.
which they were very amazed by, they fell in love with, and they decided that I want to pursue this. So that's why I wanted to tell you that do whatever you do, no matter what you do.
Right.
Maybe it's medical, maybe it's commerce, maybe it's something else, like anything in the world. But whatever you do what you love.
That's right. So that's what I wanted to tell my audience, that Anooraag is a very optimistic person and he's a very clear-minded person. So what he has clearly told me today has really opened my mind, and I will surely use it in my future. So Anooraag Bhaiya, now I would like to ask you my final question. See, honestly,
Yes.
I miss you a lot because you have now moved to Kolkata. So
Yes.
my final question for you is, how much has the change from Mumbai to Kolkata affected you, and what's the cultural difference between these two beautiful cities that you felt and experienced?
Okay, that's a really good question actually, because see, I spent the majority of my life in Mumbai.
Right, right,
My whole school life, including 11th and 12th, was in Mumbai.
right.
So, as like naturally, all my friends are in Mumbai. And like, but the thing is that coming back to Kolkata, even though I felt bad or sad about leaving Mumbai, it wasn't more than the joy I felt while coming to Kolkata.
Right.
Because in the end, see, I'm not being selfish, or I'm not trying to demean my relationships and my experiences in Mumbai,
Right.
because that always will have a special place in my heart.
Right. But you felt good by going back to your roots.
Yeah, because there is always one thing, which is घर के तरह कुछ नहीं होता. There is nothing like home.
Absolutely.
You tell me, you travel the world for 1 week.
Right.
Okay. You travel the world for 1 week, you eat different cuisines. You
Right.
taste things you have never tasted before. They are amazing, mind blowing.
Right.
But after that 1 week, you come home and you get to eat the food cooked by a mother. Even though those things costed thousands of dollars, this would be more worth it.
Right.
This would be more precious.
Right.
That is what homeland is. That is what, because we humans, like, there is always this connection to the things we have become, like the ones which have helped us grow. There is
Right,
this
right.
thing, because I can still, maybe I can go to another place, maybe another country and live. And even when I come back, I would never lose the love I had and the respect I had for my homeland, for my
Absolutely.
own place, because that's how the thing is. Because we Indians as well, this is what defines and differentiates us from the other countries, right?
Absolutely.
Because we have this, we have this feeling inside us that whatever happens, no matter how many years I live in the USA, I will still be an Indian.
Right.
And there are some people who actually, maybe they were like, and there are many people who start to blame their own country, and maybe blame because now they are getting things they didn't get there.
Right. Right.
See, because you were talking about the cultural differences, right? We all know that Kolkata and Mumbai are very different.
Right.
Because, see, now the place where I live, every day from my window, I can see Victoria Memorial. Okay, that's a fact. Just telling you.
Right. Right.
And I see Victoria Memorial. I open the window. I get fresh air everywhere.
Right.
It's like, the thing is, in Mumbai, it was not always like that. Mumbai was always like shopping malls and stuff. Because see, I plan to go out this evening. I go in Mumbai. Shopping malls. That's the first thing that pops up in our mind, right?
Right.
That's the
Right.
first thing that pops up in our mind. Where do you want to go? Oberoi
Mall.
Mall, in Orbit Mall, Infinity Mall. That's where you'll go.
Absolutely.
But there are a few other places. But this is what is common. But this whole idea of malls and stuff, this is not that much popular in Kolkata. If
Right,
you tell
right.
me where do you want to go, maybe we can go take a walk in Victoria Memorial. Maybe we can go and sit and read a book in National Library. Because there are so many such places here which are different from the metropolitan thing, which is of the shopping malls and stuff. See,
Very
that's
true.
how they. And another thing about Kolkata is that, see, Mumbai is a hub in our country. So many
Right,
people come here,
right, right.
different cultures, different, and there's this like the diversity is very like huge, and it's like, and that's how you get to like meet many new people, exchange ideas. And the thing
Absolutely.
about Mumbai is, see, Mumbai and Kolkata are very different because
Uh-huh.
Kolkata is like, for Kolkata, I would say that we all know like the mess that happens with the politician, like the side of things, right?
Right,
We all
right.
know the whole thing about with people like considering
Mm-hmm.
Kolkata's politics and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. But the one thing about Kolkata is its best thing is the people, its worst thing is the people. As simple as that.
Very well said.
We
Very
have
well
to
said.
think deep
Totally
about
agree to
this.
it.
Yeah. And what is with Mumbai is, in Mumbai, you don't come to live,
Mm-hmm.
you come to make a living.
Absolutely. That's very
Yeah.
true. I won't be lying, man. I miss you a lot. Hopefully, we will meet very soon once I come to Kolkata or vice versa that you come to Bombay. Because last time I
Yeah,
think
the
we
feeling is the
missed
same.
we missed the last time I went to Kolkata.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me today, Anurag Bhaiya. I really
Yeah, yeah, it was a
appreciate
pleasure.
and I thoroughly enjoyed our discussion today. I think I have done like four podcasts till now, but I think this vast discussion about so many topics at once, I didn't really believe this will happen. So thank you for making this possible and thank you for agreeing to do this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah, it's my pleasure, and thank you for having me as well. And it really feels good to see you because I consider you as my little brother. And
Absolutely.
I
No doubt
I
about that.
really appreciate you doing such and like exploring such new things because I know you are a very big thing when it comes to music.
Right, right.
And your guitar skills are like, I haven't seen another person in face to face who plays such a good guitar. And see, the thing about you is that now that you are doing these things, you are exploring new things
Absolutely.
and you're getting this
This
experience
was like
because
part of
see,
my
now it's
bucket
like,
list after 10th, you know. I wanted to do
yeah,
this
yeah,
as
it's
my
really
bucket
good to have
list.
a bucket list because you get to explore things because you have this in mind that I want to
Absolutely.
do this thing. And you said that you see, this is your fifth podcast, right? The one which
Right,
in
right,
I
right.
came.
This is the episode 5.
So
Right.
maybe I will come back for your 50th podcast. So
Absolutely.
it's like that's how it is because I really appreciate you doing this, taking a new step to your career and maybe exploring this new field. Because
Absolutely.
personally, for me, this is my first podcast.
Right.
Because I haven't been on a podcast. I've listened to many.
Right.
I've listened to many TED Talks as well,
Right.
but then this was pretty new.
Right.
So I really appreciate you doing this and calling me up for this. And I feel honored to be a part of your journey.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anurag Bhaiya. And hopefully, we will have a podcast like this very soon. Thank you so much. Thank you.